Thanks for staying with us. Let's check out the top stories in the newspapers this morning, starting off with the Nation newspaper. The lead story reads, "Make national interest priority. Gowon," that's former Nigerian leader, head of state, that is, tells North leaders, the leaders from the North. Other stories read, Port Harcourt refinery petrol only for NNPCL outlets. Shell starting arbitration hearings with Venture Global, says CEO. Edo schools in deplorable condition, says Governor Kwebolo. Act now on Almajiri time bomb, says Governor Sule of Nasarawa State. In other stories, this time around on the Vanguard, still talking about the tax reform bills, Nigerians earning below 1 million naira a year exempted from income tax. Reps investigate discourse over failure to replace obsolete meters. Expert calls for intervention in rising cases of diabetes. I will quit if Super Eagles qualify for 2026 World Cup, Bros says. FG wants security agencies stop torturing suspects. Right, naira depreciation boosts foreign portfolio investment by 155.5%. To Nigerian News Direct now, tax reforms will ease burden of millions of Nigerian workers, says presidency, as FIRS boss canvasses exclusion of vulnerable people in taxation. Police not charging vandals for actual crimes. Transmission Company of Nigeria laments, says 8.8 billion naira spent on fixing vandalized transmission towers. I've never borrowed a dime to execute projects, says Osho Governor Adeleke. ICPC arraigns former FMBN MD, two others for $65 million money laundering charge. Right, and now to this Nigeria. Tax reform bills throw Senate into rowdy session as Nengi Ndume reject FG team's admission into debate. Deputy Senate President Barrow overrules, allows government delegation into chamber. And the report from the International Labour Organization says 160 million persons trapped in child labor globally as Nigeria laments children working in agricultural sector remains a big challenge. Reps passed 2025 MTEF peg dollar exchange rate at 1,400. Let's check out New Telegraph now. Still on the controversy regarding the tax reform bills, it says anger, rancor in Senate over the situation. Northern senators reject access granted FIRS chair and others to make clarifications on bill. Reps summon CBN governor, bank CEOs, pro-POS user issues over lack of proper documentation and others. Irregular sleep links to heart attack, stroke risks. That's also contained in a recent report. FG to probe Nigerian businessman's 5-year detention in South Africa. This has been a lingering issue now with fresh calls to save his life. Daily Trust now. Senate brushes aside opposition, admits presidential committee to debate proposed reform legislations this Thursday. Operators raise safety concerns over air traffic controllers shortage. On alleged fraud, Yaya Bello, former Kogi governor, remanded for fresh arraignment today. TET Fund suspends foreign scholarship over cost abscondment. All this and more in the papers this morning. Let's check out what Ibrahim has.
All right, I have first with me here is the First News newspaper. Oyedele blasts Nigeria's tax system. Over 60 levies collected, yet no visible progress. Abiola's son joins Tinubu's team as SSA on linguistics, global relations. Yahaya Bello remanded in EFCC custody. Court adjourns case to December the 10th. Justice on hold. Cross River magistrates embark on strike. Federal government reviews shocking 8.8 billion naira bill for repairing vandalized transmission towers. Obasanjo warns tragedy looms for peddlers of my death rumor. Federal government warns security agencies against torturing suspects. Reviews Anti-Torture Act. Reps to probe undocumented POS users. Summons CBN Governor, Bank CEO. And then Nigeria will overcome insecurity under my leadership. Acting Chief of Army Staff vows. Next is Salient Times. Nothing to show for over 60 taxes, levies collected across Nigeria, Oyedele alleges. Yahaya Bello, others to remain in EFCC custody till December the 10th. I created more states to ease fear of northern domination. Gowon. Customs intercepts smuggled fuel valued at 86.5 million naira. TCN, 8.8 billion naira spent on repairs of vandalized transmission towers in 11 months. Uproar over tax bill as lawmakers protest FRS chair's entry to upper chamber. Good for vehicles. Dangote refinery advises petrol in push for patronage. Rowdy session in Senate over tax reform bill. Leadership newspaper is next. After system upgrades, bank customers lament persistent failed transactions, express frustration, count losses. Banks foot drag over issues, queries as reconciliation takes weeks. Yahaya Bello arraigned, remanded in EFCC custody. MNJTF kills 15 terrorists in Kukawa attack. Reps probe discourse over outdated meters. Tinubu arrives in France for state visit. Above the masthead, tension in Senate over tax reform bills. Vandals destroy 128 transmission towers in 11 months. Next is Daily Times. Senate summons Works Minister Julius Berger, CCECC over Udupani Calabar Highway. And then tax reform bills receive boost as Senate receives presidential committee. Southeast road users decry extortion, frustration at checkpoints. Reps committee grills Army Chief Oluyede behind closed doors. FCT, Senate warns Development Commission for satellite towns. Court remands Yahaya Bello in EFCC custody until December the 10th. And on the bottom strip, Tinubu lead delegation to Nigeria, South Africa by National Commission. Next is the Punch newspaper. Port Harcourt refinery. Marketers threaten boycott as NNPCL juggles petrol price. Dealers insist PMS must be cheaper than Dangote's. NNPCL delays price portal opening, restricts product. EFCC opposes Bello's bail application. Court remands ex-governor. Reps to probe 8.4 trillion naira allegedly withheld by NNPCL. Tragedy averted as tanker spills diesel in Lagos. Osun Airport. APC project panel clash over relocation. And then Tinubu to name new envoys after France, South Africa visits. 30-year experience prepared me for Chief of Army Staff job, Oluyede. Now, Finnish court sets May 2025 date for EPA's trial. Next is Platform Times newspaper. Ogun students suffer as lack of teachers, facilities, cripple education. 8.8 billion naira spent on repairs of vandalized transmission towers in 11 months. TCN. I'm hail and hearty. Those wishing me dead will face tragedy. Obasanjo. And then General Manager, Ogun State Signage and Advertising Agency, Folani Fade, third from left. This talking about the picture they have on the front page here. Also, ex-Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK urges Ogun politicians to shun divisive politics. Reps summon CBN Governor, bank CEOs, others, over unregistered POS operators. Okpeolo accuses Obaseki of fraud over Stella Obasanjo Hospital commissioning. Bill to create Ijebu State passes first reading in Senate. Now ICPC arraigns ex-FMBN MD, 3 others for alleged $65 million fraud. Next is the Hope newspaper. Yahaya Bello remanded. Court rules on bail application, December the 10th. ex-governor, 2 others face 16 counts charge. Governor Uzodinma charges journalists to combat fake news. EXU hikes tuition fee. And then insecurity. Shetima seeks China's support. Gunmen attack Innocent Motors showroom. Kidnap 3. Wow. Next is the Guardian newspaper. 505,000 shareholders forfeit 215 billion naira dividends over cost inflation. Page 6. ABU decries 310 million per session electricity bill. Dawn raises the alarm as diabetes cases surge, may rise to 708 million by 2045. Senate braces for heated debate as tax reform bills set for passage today. Nigeria has sufficient resources to build self-reliant economy, says Obasanjo. And then Gowon says, I created more states to douse fear of northern domination, says Gowon. Now, Blueprint is next. BRICS foreign inflows to Nigeria hit $1.27 billion in 12 months. Outrage as presidential team explains tax reform bills to Senate. Bills may be passed today. Adamawa local government areas enjoy financial autonomy since 2019. That's according to the commissioner. Jinwa promises to deepen collaboration with Nigerian partners. That's on the bottom strip. Last but not least is the Nation Sport Alive. Atlanta won £7 million or 70 million euros for Lukman. Icardi jealous of Osimhen. Osai Samuel agrees 4-year deal with Fulham. Abba Elephant fall in Egypt. Sanusi returns from 10-month injury layoff. And then we have Reds crush Los Blancos at Anfield. That's about it for the newspapers for review this morning.
All right. We don't have time to, further speak on, any of the prominent stories that we see there. But maybe we can also, spare some minutes for this particular one. This one that has to do with, it's on the New Telegraph. FG to probe Nigerian businessman's 5-year detention in South Africa. That story sticks out for me, Ibrahim, because his family reached out, spoke out, I should say, talking about the ordeal that Abdul Olatunji, a very promising young man who had made a name, who has made a name for himself in South Africa, but, had some problems, some legal battles, which have now ended somewhat with him being imprisoned in South Africa for 8 years. This was about 2-3 years ago. Now, the story is that the promising guy finished best graduating student in his school in Yabatech, went on, seeking greener pastures to study abroad in South Africa, and then set up this very popular bar, nightclub, and all that allegedly became a hub for criminals and the like. And so on account of that, he was arrested. And, due to this vendetta against him because he has come to take the jobs of South Africa. So, the narrative. So he's seen as, the person that has taken away their jobs. And a racket was made against him, was done against him now. And so he's in jail. Lawyer after lawyer has come to, represent him, but have been threatened and bailed out that they cannot, stand or defend him now. So he's having to defend himself. And so the family back home, they're crying out. And now the Abike Dabiri Erewa team has now said that they will take up his case and work on setting him free.
Right. Nigeria, South Africa have good relationship, good bilateral relations.
Absolutely.
But I think this is a diplomatic issue. It has become a diplomatic issue, and Nigerian authorities really have to get on it and ensure that they are able to save this young man who had gone there to do legitimate business. They've not essentially been able to establish that he's complicit in any criminal or whatever, criminal act or anything, because we know that this xenophobia is still very much entrenched in South Africans, especially against their fellow South African men. there's some of them who, they even have certain, I've forgotten the name of this, more like paramilitary, where their own is they do not want to see any African,
right,
there in South Africa, just to, do business and all. Even some of those who were born in South Africa, as long as they know that they are not South Africans, by
they develop this
they do not really want them. And this is not good. We can't be doing this to our fellow human beings, let alone an African man who have the same genealogy with that of yours.
Absolutely.
So Nigerian authorities should really get on this and resolve it as soon as possible.
Right, and we indeed hope that due investigations will be done on this matter, especially now that, an appeal is ongoing. All right, that said, we'll take a break.